All right. So we're going to start rolling. This thing has popped up. It said last 30 seconds. We've been on for 2 seconds. Isn't that creepy how it does that? Anyway,
awesome.
It's your first time on Blab or no?
Yes.
All right, cool.
I sort of limped my way through it once, but you can clearly see I'm a bit of a Blab virgin. So.
That's all right. I'm like a Blab teenager. So all you do is just basically people comments on the side if you want to ask questions or answer their questions. I apologize. Anybody's watching now, if you guys could share the last 30 seconds, you can just pop it up and it'll go. It's like a little GIF they share, like a little video of this video we're talking about to get people over here to watch. Outside of that, we're gonna basically talk and share. And you have a really cool story that I hope more people get to hear. So I guess the intro is, hi, my name's Anthony. This is Shelli.
Hi, everybody.
And Shelli's going to tell you a very powerful story, pretty much explaining like how you got into the space of what you're doing now. But first off, what do you do? How'd you end up doing it?
I am a fire captain, author, and speaker, and an entrepreneur. And do you want me to start with firefighting? Because it's kind of very
it all works together.
Start. Oh yeah,
the disconjunction is always good.
It flows, baby.
Yeah.
So when I was 20 years old, I was an artist. I used to do special effects makeup, and I worked in a nail salon, and I hated it. And I was kind of getting to that age where all of my friends knew what they wanted to do, and they're all starting to go to university, and everybody has this like grandiose plan all figured out for their lives, and I did not. Like, I just was like, I can't make a living doing special effects makeup. I'm not really sure I want to. And I started to get more anxious and more anxious. And so all my friends are going off to university. Yeah. And I had this chance meeting with a family friend who happened to be a firefighter. And he was going through a divorce, and he was struggling for custody of his 2-year-old little girl. So every second Sunday he'd have to, he'd get her, but he'd have to give her back. So every second Sunday I would show up at his house. And it was just, my goal was keep him talking for as long as possible. And the one thing he could talk about forever, being a firefighter, was firefighting. Yeah. So it started out, he would tell me stories about like dramatic rescues and awesome, like, cat in a tree stories and heroic fires. And I just was like, wow, like the first time I was like, nah. And I couldn't get enough of it. So week after week and month after month, he's telling me all these cool stories about firefighting. But he ran out of stories. So eventually he started teaching me about fire pumps and about fire science and all this kind of stuff. And it's weird because I now talk about the danger of labels, because my label was artist. Like, I was an artist. That's what I did. And I would have never known otherwise that I had a natural mechanical aptitude, because like I was painting nails and doing my thing, right? Yeah. So I couldn't get enough of his stories and about his teachings and stuff. And I'd pick it up very quickly. And I remember this specific day, we're driving across Dundas Street here in Toronto. And there was like a dangerous goods placard on the back of a truck. And I'm thinking to myself, based on what he taught me, I think I know what that means. So I asked him, and he said, oh, that's whatever, flammable liquids. And I said, well, based on what you told me, it should be flammable, dangerous goods. And he turns to me and he says, why don't you just apply? And I thought, like, and honestly, to this point, I had not even entertained the thought, because I was 5'2", 108 pounds, no skills, knowledge, experience related to firefighting at all. Yeah. And so I said to him, like, even when he said that, I didn't take it on as my own. I just kind of, said, that's ridiculous. I'm not big enough, brave enough, smart enough, strong enough. And there are no women. But that night I went home, and it was all I could think about. And 3 words changed my life, but they happened when I spoke them to myself. And those words were, why not me? And it was strange, because when I said them, it was like, boom. And like everything changed. My energy changed. My enthusiasm changed. What I thought was possible would change. But I was still living in a 108-pound body, right? So this is problematic. Yeah. So I call up the local university where they do all the physical testing. And I thought, okay, well, I'm a 10K a day runner. It's going to be tough, but I'll be able to get through it. So I go there. I pay to take the physical. I got my ass kicked. Like, it was devastating. And I went home, and I basically cried for 3 days, because it was the first time I ever like had that tap, like, oh, this is my jam. Yeah. And then I thought, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Like, I'm gonna have to give it up.
You couldn't have your dream.
I can't do it. So, but what happened on the 4th day was I got pissed off. And so I called the university back, and I said, listen, I'm gonna need the specs for that entire physical, like all of it. And basically I built it at home. And I failed at it day after day after day after day after day.
Mm-hmm.
And all the while I'm, blood, sweat, tears, the whole 9 yards. It was not pretty to watch. And I learned how to drive a truck, and I learned about fire science, and I learned all of the skills. I basically reverse engineered every piece of skills, knowledge, experience, or physical aptitude that I would need, and I built it. And 1,162 days later, I got the call that I was hired.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, how many days is that?
1,162 days.
Like a couple of years.
3.5 years.
3.5.
3.5 years.
Few years.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
So during that time, I didn't if it wasn't moving me further towards my goal, then I didn't do it. If I wasn't hanging around people that could talk about the things that I wanted to talk about, that was moving me closer to that, I basically carved a space of what was going to get me to where I ultimately wanted to go.
Which is what a lot of people want to do.
Yeah. And I developed a system later on because, I was just kind of doing my thing. It was just meant something to me, and I wanted to serve. But years later, I've been on 22 years now, and always I'm getting asked, how did you do that? How did you do that? And the thing that was interesting to me was people always focus on the things. And we talked about this as well. You learn how to drive a truck, and that's tangible. You learned how to work a fire pump, and that's tangible. And you beat up your body until it rebuilt itself so it was capable, and that's tangible. But the thing that was probably the most important piece was the mindset piece. And how do you stay emotionally engaged for that period of time when there's no logic pointing to the fact that this can even be done?
Yeah.
And nobody believes you can do it, and you've never seen an example of it. How do you stay emotionally engaged for that long so that you can continue to beat yourself up physically and stay in the game, and, go to work and make some money, and then learn to cut apart a car, and then go to work and make some money, and then learn about high angle rescue. And so that's what I did. And I had a look at what I had done after I did a bit of soul searching, because I kept getting asked the same questions over and over. And at the beginning, I just thought, well, it's kind of novel. I'm a chick firefighter. That's kind of but as it turns out, year after year, there was more to it than that. And people wanted to know, what was the system you used? And a lot of it boiled down to getting over fear and creating confidence, even when nobody else saw it. So
how do you do that? That's one of the major questions that everyone deals with.
Absolutely. And now that's my jam. So, I talk a lot about confidence because confidence, it has a couple facets to it, but one part is, what is the weight that you put on holding something back, and what is the perspective, and where do you see yourself in relation to something else? And, with respect to fear, people are usually, there's always a goal behind the goal, and there's always a fear behind the fear. So with respect to people's not wanting to move forward with something, even though in their heart they really know they want to do it, it's usually because of an underlying reason. They maybe don't want to try and fail so that they have to emotionally give up on that dream. Or maybe they don't want to be, ridiculed, or maybe they don't want to be rejected, depending on what your goal is.
Your judgments.
Yeah. So just getting to the root of what's underneath all of that, and getting behind, getting to the goal behind the goal. So some people say, for example, oh yeah, you know what? I want to be a millionaire. I want to have $1 million. It's $1 million. Everyone wants $1 million, right? Exactly. So a lot of times, if you think about, oh, my hair's going crazy here. If you think about the $1 million, it's not the paper money you want, because it actually has no value. It's, people would do different things, say, with $1 million. You would want freedom. You would want the ability to be generous. You would want maybe impact. You would want, to have certain experiences. And those are the things you actually want. So it's just kind of getting to the underlying facet of what do you want and what are you really afraid of? And then just kind of work. Because a lot of times you're not afraid of the thing. I always say to them, when you're afraid of something big, you're actually afraid of something quite small underneath it. And it's usually, what is the fear asking me to look at that I don't want to look at?
Gotcha. It's more of an internal ego punch. You have to punch yourself in the ego a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I kind of, I did that, and I went on to write a children's book because, again, I kept getting asked about this stuff all the time. And when I was a kid, they actually took me to the doctor because they thought I was going to be a little person because I was so grossly undersized, right? Like they can measure the spaces between your bones and stuff like that. So being asked about the fire department all the time, and then coming from the perspective of this tiny little introverted girl who was bullied and picked on and stuff, I wrote a book called Peanut Meets the Pigtailed Firefighter. And essentially it's a story of a little girl who thinks she wants to be rescued by this brave prince, and she wants, fairies and dresses and all that kind of stuff. And this particular day they go to school and it's career day. So they've got doctors and lawyers and astronauts, but then the fire truck pulls up and a girl gets off. She's like, well, that's a weird looking dude, but then she realizes if that girl can be brave, maybe she can be brave too. And maybe she doesn't need to be rescued after all.
That's awesome. I didn't know about this. You got a writer of child. That's pretty cool. I didn't know. I didn't know you did that. Do you like make pancakes in your spare time too?
No, I'm not allowed in the kitchen.
Really?
It's best for everybody.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, when I started in the fire department, we would we all cook as a team, right? Yeah. And I have no cooking skills, so I'd say, hey, do you want some help? They're like, yeah, get the hell out of the kitchen. That would help.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome, because that could be a really sexist joke right now, but I'm not going to make it. You know what I mean?
Hey, jump on.
I'm sure you've heard more than enough, because you can tell. You said a story. Like one of the things that I remember in your TEDx. If you guys haven't had a chance, I'd love you to put the link to your TEDx talk down here. But you tell a story about how when you did get in, right? Like you're talking about, you got the call, and you're on, but it wasn't easy going from there. Like it wasn't like all of a sudden, oh, I'm a firefighter now, life is great. Like you still had ups and downs.
Yeah, so there were no girls in the job, and basically this is 22 years ago. So I mean, more so than it was an old boys club. So I started with 14 other recruits, and I always say when we walked off the stage and got our diploma, that's when their struggle was over. Like I didn't work harder than them to get the job. I worked just as hard. Yeah. But now their struggle is over. That's when mine actually started. So after doing all of that stuff, now I have to prove myself. Yeah. Because when you walk into a fire hall as a girl, and the first girl and a tiny girl, they're just like, we don't generally like the look of you. So we are not down. So, even now, like I'm a captain now, and a lot of the times I will walk into a fire hall with a group of people that I haven't worked with before, and they will assume that I can't until I prove I can, as opposed to a guy, they'll assume he can until he proves he can't.
That's really well stated. I've never thought of it. That makes complete sense though.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's just, I knew that I wanted the job for the right reasons. I wanted to serve and I wanted to help. And it didn't matter if I was hot in the summer and cold in the winter, like I was in. So all of that other stuff was just kind of, I mean, it was tough, but it was a detail because I got to do the thing that I wanted to do. And not a lot of people can say.
It's true. And that's where I want to lead into the next stream of questions, I guess, is, because I have a lot of people you have a lot of people, pretty much everybody in the world is like, they have that thing, that goal behind the goal. They have that fear behind the fear, but that fear behind the fear, the goal behind the goal, they don't actually pursue. Like they don't go past the fear and they don't go after the goal. And so there's things that these people can, I would think, from my experience and people I've worked with, they can start to mitigate that early on, and they can look at, I say, perspectives. Because one thing that I heard you say earlier was the fourth day I got angry. Right? It wasn't that anything changed, but you had a new perspective.
Absolutely.
And so like, how do you get people to have a new perspective, to switch, to say, you know what, I want this, I'm going to go get it.
Yes, because people think too logically a lot of the time. I always say there is no room for logic when you're dreaming, when you're trying to architect that goal worth chasing. So you use logic later when you execute, but when you're trying to figure out like what means something to me, there is no room for logic, because I'm obsessed with this question. I'll say to people, if you could do anything, like anything, forget about logic, anything, what would you do?
Fly.
And awesome. But you know what most people will say, because I've asked this questions hundreds of times, they'll look at their current skill set and they'll think of the job that sucks the least compared to what they already know. And I said, but that's not what I asked you, because you can learn anything. So if you could do anything, because what happens is when you find that thing that sort of taps at you and you're like, oh man, I would do anything if I could have that job or climb Kilimanjaro or lose 200 pounds or whatever it is. Once you become emotionally invested, then the details are just stuff. So for example, I've been on the treadmill many times, and you know, some days you look down and you're like, God, I've got to almost be done. Like I'm dying over here. And you look down and you're like, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, like get stuffed.
Yeah.
But then other days, and you're just in a fantastic mood, and you're trucking along on the same treadmill, doing the same number of steps, and you're thinking, oh, you know, I've got to be halfway, and the seconds are counting down. You're almost finished. The only thing that changed was right here. So it's just, it's being in alignment with the goal that you want, finding the goal that is worth chasing. And that's really easy to do if you get to the root of your motivation and find that thing that really lights you up. Like you talked about football, and it's kind of the same thing. Like when you know when you want it.
Yeah. It's that point where it's like, it's creepy. You can't shut off. Like you said, I couldn't get out of my head. I think we as humans, we presently have those thoughts, but we don't act. Like it's almost like that something's talking to us. We're like, no, I can't do that. No, you can't do that. So we'll push that down. And that literally is a start to you being unhappy. I feel for a lot of people, it's, well, I want this thing, but now you start giving yourself reasons why you can't, as opposed to finding unique ways you can, thinking outside the box. And so I think that's a huge thing, like you said, is I think you've got to find out what's speaking to you. Listen to your story. It's like everybody has those heroes' journeys, and you can hear them. But I think anybody listening right now, I guarantee anybody listening, you have these same moments where her moment was she sat there in bed, you know, after crying for 3 days, the fourth day it turned on. Everybody, some people have been crying for 3 years, 6 years, 10 years, 11 years, never switched it. And so there's always the opportunity, I think, to step out and have a new perspective and apply something new to be able to get there. So I guess, you know, you've done speeches, you've traveled and talked. Like, what is one powerful way that you've taught people, or you've like maybe something you share from stage of the way to get to that point, and like maybe how to take that first step towards, you know, getting past the fear or going after the goal behind the goal? Yeah.
Well, first of all, it's knowing that anything is possible. And by anything, I mean everything. So it's really kind of doing some soul searching to find that one thing, or maybe it's a couple things, and it doesn't always have to stay the same, but what speaks to you? Like, what do you love? And in my TED talk, I tell a story about the night my dad passed away. And my dad loved Stevie Ray Vaughan, like loved blues guitarist. And, you know, as he's going on his last day, he can't speak and he can't swallow, but he can air guitar Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like he knew what he loved. So it's just, first of all, connecting with that thing and without the filter and without the logic, because people they always revert to logic, and you can't get there from there. You just can't get there from logic. You have to get there from heart.
I agree.
So once you have the thing and you know what the thing is, honestly, the rest, it's just plug and play. It's just stuff. Because for me, when I looked at the whole picture, it was like totally overwhelming. And I said, okay, like, let's roadmap this. So I literally did. And as it turns out, I did it the way we run a fire call now. Like I just basically made sectors. So in a fire, it would be fire sector, rescue sector, ventilation sector. For me, it was, okay, learn to drive a truck, learn first aid and CPR, beat your body up until it's able to do those functions. And there was like probably 20 of those like big pillars of knowledge or expertise or training that I needed. And then what you do is you just take one of them, and then you just reverse it until you find your starting point. So for me, like the starting point was try that physical, get your ass kicked by physical, go home, cry for 3 days, call them back. Okay, I need to be bigger. I need to be stronger. I need, you know, protein. I need, and literally just, if you can break down one of those pillars into a granular task or habit, then you're like, okay, I can do this. I can't, you know, because it's not like zip files. If you unzip them and you're looking at the whole picture, you're like, what? You just zip them up and just look at that one segment first, and then that one segment first, and just and stay emotionally connected to your end result and to your why. But also, for me, I was 20 years old. Like all my girlfriends were into, you know, like Brendan Burchard says, beers and boys. And so that was not serving me. I was not learning anymore. I wasn't surrounded by people who this was even a feasible possibility for them. So it's like, okay, I love you guys. You know, I'm still going to be here, but I have to go over here and do this with these people. So I just basically surrounded myself with people who were either where I was going or on their way to the same place. And, you know, I learned so much from them, because then I could talk about firefighting, or I could talk about whatever. And our habits became the same. And it's just become, you basically build this little tribe of people, and you just kind of like plug away task after task after task,
and
it works for anything. Yeah, it's a very transferable skill set, because that's, you know, I use that same skill set to do my TED Talk.
Mm-hmm.
I went from terrified to speak on stage to a TED Talk in just over a year.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about getting over fears there, my friend.
Yeah, that's a whole new one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, I mean, I've used it a number of times, and it's just, it just works.
Yeah, I get it. I think I'm hearing like some things that it's always, I think the more and more that I listen to it, there's some guy that actually, you know, structured the hero's journey, and I cannot think of his name. That was a while ago.
Joseph Campbell.
There you go. Right. And so he basically went and looked at all these stories around the world and saw the same similarities. And so, I mean, I'm not Joseph Campbell, but as I listen to more people on my podcast and I hear talk, it's like some of the same exact things we just say over and over, but different ways. Right. Which is great, because I think all humans hear things from different people. More specifically, like someone's going to listen to you and get it, right? They'll listen to me and be like, oh, he's talking about, you know? So it's always variances. And I think a part of it, if I synthesize what you're saying, is you got to have a reason why, like whatever reason why you're doing this thing, it's got to be something that's there. Chunk it down. I call it, for me, it's basic compounding time. If you just look at the little chunks you got to do to slowly start progressing in the right direction. Because once you have that moving, the ball rolls. I also find the more investment you put in, the more that you feel like you want to finish it. When you're at the beginning stage, it's like, well, I don't know if I want to do, never put the investment in, but what you invest, you want return on. So
absolutely.
So you start learning. So it's like now you went and bought all this stuff to build this thing in your house. Like, shit, I got to start climbing this thing.
And then it's like, but it sucks.
Yeah, I already paid for it. It's already built it. Then you got that. You're like, okay, what's the next step? And then you're like 30 things in. It's like, well, I can't stop now. So I think a lot of people, it's like, push yourself off a cliff. Like, get to that point of just like, you know what, and just fall down. And now you have to figure a way to start catching yourself, because if you're starting to fall, you catch yourself. And I think the backside of that is realize that, anything's possible. Just open the brain up to say, okay, what is it my heart every day keeps saying I want to do? And then find a unique way to do it. And I think that is the big thing, is as simple as it is that anything's possible. It sounds so cliche for a lot of people and so basic, like, I've heard it before, but I don't think, I think they've heard it, but they've never listened. They've never really listened, because with the technology nowadays and access to people and what's out, like, one, you're not going to die. We live in America where we have it so easy. It's incredibly crazy. I watched something on, I watch documentaries all day on animals. Don't ask me why. It's just what I do. And there's these guys. I like
you even more now, if that's possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's these guys that they're up in, I think they're in Greenland, and they hunt the narwhals, like the whales with the big, like the unicorn whales.
Oh yeah.
And it's like these guys, like, it's 24-hour sun. The sun just does this in the sky. They're like freezing cold. They're hunting whales in kayak, like, because their families have to eat. And it's like, and I'm worried about having to drive to the store to go grocery shopping. You know what I mean? Like, anything truly is possible when you reshape your perspective, which I think is what you had when you were sitting in bed and you're like, you know what? I'm pissed now. I'm gonna figure this shit out.
Yep.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
If you guys learn anything from that, just listen to the implications of her story. There's some powerful things in there. And I think it's also huge. I commend you on being the first to do something. That's also very tricky, being the first to do something. Because like, I can say, I'm going to close my gym and I'm going to venture off and be a speaker. But a lot of people have been speakers before. But you were like, I'm going to be the first. I'm going to go and blaze a trail.
Well, the heaviness of that was I wanted to do it right, because I wanted every girl who came on after me, like, if she wasn't any good, I wanted it to be because she wasn't good, not because she was a girl. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that everybody had a clear picture of what this should look like when it's, when it works. Yeah.
It's kind of like Jesse Owens. I don't know if that's as far as we can go. That, like, he was the first one to go do that. Remember
Jesse Owens?
Yeah, when he went over to Russia and he was, having to run with it. Like, everybody was leaning on him, like, you're about to go do something big. Like, you were kind of in I don't want to say the exact same place. I don't know if it'd be a discredit to anybody, but in terms of being the first person to go venture off and do something, it's unique. Yeah.
Well, it was what ended up being the best part of my story, though, is because I started as an artist, I kind of have that sort of hippie brain, that sort of like dreamer hippie brain, right? So I basically, when I was creating my confidence course, it was like one part roots, one part wings. And so just kind of like putting that together in a package that is for people like that, because I can speak to pragmatic and I can speak to artistic, because I'm kind of a hybrid of both in a weird way. Yeah. So it made it a lot of fun when I started building the course and putting it all together in one package, because part of it's very visual and part of it's very story driven, of course.
Yeah.
But then part of it is like rubber meets the road. Like let's get our asses kicked. We got some shit to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tactical tools. So I really, really enjoyed putting that together.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So I always end these things with a random question.
Hit me.
I don't know, how random do you want to go? You want to go weird? You want to go off? So here's the one I like, and I don't know why I like it. I've asked everybody. I've asked us more than this. This is what happens. You're walking through a field. You're walking through a field, and all of a sudden, in front of you, a portal opens up. You have no idea how long it's going to be there. You don't know where it goes. You don't have any clue how you may get back, but it's open. What do? Do you walk through?
Jump through?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I like
the answer is yes. The answer is yes. What's the question?
All right, good. I could, because I've heard different statements, and I'm always like, I just feel like that is one that people can't see. You answered it pretty quick. I think what it is. I wouldn't go through because I have kids now. I don't know, because I'm like, what if I never see my kids again? That I don't care where I can go to Wally World for the rest of my life, but if I'm by myself, like it's no bueno. So I don't know. That's my statement. All right, so you have a confidence course, you have a TED Talk, you have an amazing website. I love going through that. I'll grab the kids. Afton says, what is the way that people can reach you if they want to find out more about you, they want to follow you, or they want to take part in anything you do service wise?
Yep, absolutely. So my podcast is called The Yes Effect. So it's theyeseffectshow.com. Or you can hit me up at shellivarela.com, which I'll spell it because, my mom had a sense of humor. So it's SHELLI, V as Victor, ARELA.com.
All right. I'm going to write shellivarela.com. So it's in the comment section. I don't know if anybody wants to see that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to unlock this. I always do this at the end. I unlock the seat. So if people want to hop on and ask you a question, they can ask you a question directly. Is that okay with you?
Amazing. Absolutely.
I mean, it's kind of, I put you on the spot just now. I realized as I said that, I'm like, I said it all. And then like, if you want to, so you can't lie and be like, no, I don't want to talk to anybody. But I'm glad you did. So
that girl was a good guest until she said no.
Yeah, I hate her guts. So anyways, if you guys want, people don't always hop on. For some reason, some people like that. They like there's shows where people love to hop on and do it. But then I've had some people message me later like, I didn't want to get on because my hair wasn't done. So I don't know. But anyways, if you guys want to hop on, there's a spot. You can hit the open seat button or call in. You're welcome to hop on with us. If not, then we'll close it up. So I usually give it like 3 to 5 seconds while I just kind of sit here and wander around. But that's it, man. I was good. I enjoyed talking to you. It's a blast. It's always funny because we see so many people in our space, and it's like we don't always get a chance to sit and talk. So some people ask Anthony, "Why'd you start a podcast?" Or I was like, I just wanted to talk to people more. I wanted to meet more people because if not, then it's like you're just kind of floating around. And I love humans and I love like stories and. So this gives me this is more for me than it is for anybody watching. Sorry, I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was kind of the same. Like I was having all these amazing adventures at, like we met at an event, I guess like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I kept meeting all of these amazing people and coming back and telling people stories. They're like, you met who?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I have to share this with people because like some of the most amazing human beings I've ever met. Yeah.
That's the cool thing. That's why I like what I get to do now. And that's what I also like about this. I was in the fitness world for a while. And it's so very competitive in your same industry. Like everybody's competing against everybody. But in this space, in my experience so far, everybody has like you're playing upon your uniqueness. You may do something similar, but like it's so unique that it's better to help somebody else.
Yes.
It's like it's like all ships rise, which is really cool. Because I was an athlete, so I like competing, but I'm not trying to compete against you. I want to compete against me. But not everybody else in the space. That was always one. I like this area because I can just sit and talk and meet cool people, and I know I love it. I feel like I'm guilty happy in life right now. I don't know
that's awesome in the best way possible. Hey, so I'm gonna check out your Renew University for sure.
Please do. Please check it out. I just got done talking to my event planner. This event. I don't know if anyone knows how much it costs to run it. Do you know how much it costs to run an event? You wear this?
Well, kind of, because I used to run the Firefighter calendar for like 10 years. So I'd have a launch event with like pyrotechnics in downtown Toronto. And people said, you can't do that. I'm like, you sit back and watch this girl do
It's got to get done. Yeah. I'm paying a lot. The thing is, the way the course is created, it's incredibly intricate. Like I hooked you up with the woman who does the course creation. So with her,
she's amazing.
I got the woman who does like a guy who does PDFs. I got, I'm letting somebody call in. I've got things that are rocking and rolling. I found a venue, which is a great place, a Marriott in San Mateo. Like it's cool. I got a whole bunch of people doing it. This guy's set up down here. I like it. But the event is going to be amazing.
Alex Ochar, I know that are you?
Hey, Alex, man, I don't know you, but I feel like I'm out of the loop now because I don't. I feel like I should.
I need to call you, Anthony. Great job what you're doing with your podcast. And Shelli, congratulations. I'm so happy to see you.
It's so good to see you, my friend.
We met a few years ago, and she's just a heart. She's just a big heart, and I'm so proud of what she has been doing for lately. I haven't had a chance to be in touch with you, but I follow you, and I'm so glad of what you guys are doing. Congratulations!
Amazing. I met Alex at a bar stool at Brendan's event after hours. So so we ended up talking, and we've pretty much been in touch ever since. I love him. So good to see you.
I like it. That's awesome. It's a small world that way. Isn't it crazy? It's like, I love it though. It's all good.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for what you're doing. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. I will be in touch with you, my dear.
Perfect. Bye-bye.
Okay, ciao.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't know. That's how I got. That's Life's Roll. Renew You is up. It'll be in launches. I'm actually filming my launch videos tomorrow out here. I got a full video. I got a full video crew filming my three like value videos and the sales video and everything. It's gonna be. It's a way that's been done that no one's like done value videos to date. I'm pretty sure. Like
we have to chat.
I'll fill you all in, and then it all ties.
Where are you in California?
I'm in the East San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be going to Oprah's Super Soul Sessions live in 3 weeks. So
you can tell me about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but you should enjoy that. It should be fun. Oprah's dope.
It's gonna be.
I'm gonna meet Oprah someday. I don't know when I'm gonna meet her or how. I'm gonna meet her though, just so you know.
I'm gonna meet her in 3 weeks. So
damn, you should take me. Can I go in your pocket?
Hell's to the yes.
All right, cool. All right, well, I'm gonna pause recording.